If you know what you're doing, writing an IELTS essay is easy. Whether you write your essay on the computer or write it in the paper-based test, it is possible when you receive your score report to get a band 9. You just need to know what the examiners are looking for. So in this video, I'm going to break down this Task 2 sample response and explain some key reasons why the candidate would likely achieve a band 9 score. By the end of this lesson, you'll know exactly what it takes to write an excellent IELTS essay. And you'll have learned plenty of tips and tricks to use in your essay on test day. So let's start off by looking at the Writing Task 2 essay prompt. It says, more and more people are shifting to a plant-based diet. Why is this the case? Do you think this is a positive or a negative development? Now, the first thing you should do for every Task 2 essay is analyse the prompt and make sure you know exactly how to answer it. That's because if you don't fully answer the essay prompt, it will be impossible to get a band 9. This prompt starts with a statement. More and more people are shifting to a plant-based diet. This is the topic that you'll write about. People are moving from eating meat to eating primarily food from plants, such as fruit, vegetables, and cereals. Then there are two questions. Why is this the case? Do you think this is a positive or a negative development? The first question is asking about reasons why people are changing to a plant-based diet. And the second question is asking you to state your position or opinion about that. You must answer both of these questions in detail to get a band 9. If you only write about one of the questions, or if you write a lot about the reasons but only one or two sentences on your opinion, your band score will be limited. Also, notice the language in the statement. It uses the present continuous verb tense. More and more people are shifting to a plant-based diet. We use the present continuous to describe a trend, something that is developing now. This is really important. You need to write about the reasons why people who used to eat meat are now moving to a plant-based diet. The question is not asking for general reasons why some people don't eat meat. For a band 9, your reasons and examples must be directly relevant to the question. This prompt is a double question essay type, but there can be other types of essay questions in Writing Task 2. If you want to know how to answer every type of prompt, head over to E2 Test Prep and sign up for free. We've got video lessons on methods for writing all the IELTS essay types in Writing Task 2. Alright, so now we know what the essay prompt is asking us to write about, let's look at how our band 9 candidate has responded. Feel free to pause the video and read through the candidate's entire response. This might also be a good time to click that subscribe button so you'll know when we release more IELTS videos. That was a good essay, wasn't it? Let's have a closer look at some important things the candidate has done to fulfill the band 9 descriptors, starting with the introduction. Look at the thesis statement. That's the second sentence here. This essay will examine the key drivers of this trend and argue that it is a largely positive development. The band 9 descriptor for the task response criterion says, a clear position is presented which directly answers the questions. This thesis statement shows that the candidate is going to answer both questions and that they have a clear position, that it's a largely positive development. This is a really good start. Let's see how they develop the essay in the first body paragraph. This paragraph helps to fulfill the requirements of the task response descriptor. Ideas are relevant, fully extended, and well supported. It provides two clear reasons for an increase in plant-based diets, people's ethical or environmental concerns. Each idea is extended and supported with examples, inhumane conditions, and deforestation and greenhouse gas emissions. Also, notice how the candidate has ensured their ideas are relevant to this prompt by relating them to a current trend or development. Remember, the question in the prompt asks you to explain why more and more people are shifting to a plant-based diet now. So this candidate says, in recent years, confronting information about practices involved in some large-scale meat and dairy farming has emerged. This shows a real depth of understanding of the prompt and how to respond with relevant ideas. The candidate could just say, people are shifting to a plant-based diet because they think eating meat is unethical. But that doesn't explain why they think that now. By linking the reason to a recent development, the candidate is explaining why the trend is happening now. And this is really the key to getting a Band 9 for task response. Make sure that the examiner can't read any of your supporting ideas and ask the question, why? Let's look at how the candidate fulfills the grammatical range and accuracy criterion in this paragraph. One of the descriptors says, punctuation and grammar are used appropriately throughout. Here's a complex sentence using appropriate verb tenses and voice. The candidate says information has emerged using the present perfect tense active voice to describe a recent change. Then they say animals are raised using the present simple tense for something that is generally true in the passive voice because the people doing the action aren't important. There are multiple phrases and clauses in this sentence, and commas are accurately used to connect them all. By choosing the appropriate verb tenses, the candidate is able to communicate their meaning clearly. And this is key for a Band 9. You need to use a range of structures for the appropriate reason. Let's look at the next paragraph and see one key thing the candidate does to help boost their score in task response. In this paragraph, the candidate answers the second question in the essay prompt. They explain their position, that the development is generally positive, and give relevant reasons with examples to support it. But then they add a point about some possible negative consequences of the development. They say, a major shift away from animal products would have negative consequences for that industry, however, and explained that mitigation strategies would be needed to lessen the impact. By acknowledging that some aspects of an increase in plant-based diets may not be as positive as others, the candidate is able to fulfill the task response descriptor which says, the prompt is appropriately addressed and explored in depth. Acknowledging another side to the argument is a really efficient way of exploring the topic in depth. With limited time and only a few hundred words, you can't cover every aspect of the topic. But showing you're aware of both sides of the issue shows greater depth of exploration than stating it's only positive or negative. This paragraph is also a great example of how to meet the coherence and cohesion descriptor. Cohesion is used in such a way that it rarely attracts attention. What does attract attention mean here? Well, to answer that, let me show you a paragraph where the cohesion attracts a lot of attention. Look at all the signal language in this paragraph. Firstly, for example, therefore, secondly, as a result, however, thus. Almost every sentence starts with one of these words or phrases. There are so many, they take your attention away from the ideas. Let's compare the two paragraphs. The candidate's paragraph on the right uses signal language only when necessary to link the ideas clearly, including, more importantly, and however. And they only begin a sentence with a linking phrase once. You can follow the ideas easily, but you don't notice the signal language. Of course, you need to use some signal language in your writing to help the reader. But if your ideas are logically organised and your grammar is good, the reader will be able to follow your points. So only use signal language when really necessary, and vary the position of the language in the sentences if you want to score a band 9. Okay, we've reached the final paragraph. In the conclusion, the candidate repeats the ideas from the body of the essay to summarise their points, but they use completely different words. For example, in the first sentence, the candidate repeats the reasons for shifting to a plant-based diet, a desire to be more compassionate towards other living creatures, and less destructive of the environment. This is very different from the language they used in the body paragraph. Many people feel they can no longer ethically justify eating meat and concerned about climate change. This variety helps them to fulfill the Band 9 descriptor for lexical resource. A wide range of vocabulary is used accurately and appropriately. It's really important for your lexical resource score that you vary your language. Don't use the exact same language from the prompt, and don't repeat the same words or phrases over and over again throughout your essay. Be creative. Remember, with practice, Band 9 is possible. Good luck.